The 52nd Annual Legislative Conference for the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation kicked off in the United States Capitol. The conference focuses on policy, social justice, economic empowerment, education, and other topics for Black Americans. The CBCF says against a backdrop of the Supreme Court's recent decision to strike down affirmative action programs and diversity, equity, inclusion stalling across corporate America, this year's conference will focus on securing democracy, protecting freedoms, and uplifting culture. The Virgin Islands representative, Stacey Plaskett, is the co-chair of this year's conference, and she says she's invited the Virgin Islands government to be part of it. She shares what she hopes people can learn from the gathering.
I think that in one sense, we're giving as well. The governor and his team have an exhibit booth from tourism, discussing our tax benefit, even having agencies like Public Works, the Department of Education, as well as the Office of Disaster Recovery here to try and find Black contractors, Black builders, Black financiers for some of the projects that they'd like to move forward. And also even from the youngest. I was speaking with a group of students from Eudora Ken who were here to sit in on some of the discussions. This is the ultimate civics class for them to be able to learn and bring it back to the other students. So I'm happy that as the co-chair, I'm bringing along all Virgin Islanders with me. And I think also there are lessons that people are going to learn going to some of these panels that they'll be able to implement back home. Over 10,000 people come to the conference to really focus on issues of importance to Black Americans and to the larger community at large. And so I think what's important is what's important to the people who come here to have these discussions, right? And it ranges, which I think is so amazing. I just saw an ad, like a poster board for a discussion about housing. There are discussions about Black innovation, discussions about environmental justice, discussions about voting rights, discussions about mass incarceration. So the range of issues, I think, is just an example of what's important to Black America, but also the depth at which the individuals who are there to speak on these panels. We're talking about housing, seeing that the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development will be there, leading scientists for environmental justice. So I think that this is also a way for us to center ourselves and then to go back out into the communities that we represent, back out into the communities where we live, to try and galvanize ourselves and our communities to do the work to uplift not just Black Americans. And I think the message needs to be to people that uplifting us lifts up all Americans, that when one group of us do better, everyone does better.